All right, everybody, gonna go through these 3 examples that we had in our notes. So, we want to count how many of each type of atom is in each of these molecules here. So first off, we've got 12 NaCl. So following just like some of those tips and tricks I told you about in the notes, I'm gonna go ahead and put a box around the atom, or around the molecule, excuse me, because that will help me remember that I need to multiply this 12 by everything in the box. Okay? So what that means is I need to figure out, how much Na there is and how much Cl there is. Right? Because those are the 2 elements I have here. And the reason I know that is because I see Na, and like it's capital N, lowercase a, and then I see Cl, and it's a capital C, lowercase l. So whenever I see a new capital letter, what that tells me is that that's a new element for me to count. So in this example, I'm going to want to take my 12 and multiply it by Na and by Co. All right. So what that means is that 12 multiplied by 1 is 12, and 12 multiplied by 1 again is 12. And you might be like, well, where are you getting this 1 from? Well, when these atoms have no coefficient, or no subscript, I'm sorry, they do have a coefficient. The coefficient is 12. When they have no subscript, that basically means 1. You can have a little rhyme. None means 1. For subscripts, none means 1. So let's do the same thing over here for number 2. Let's first figure out what atoms we have to count. I see a capital C for carbon. Great, so I'll have to count carbon. And then I see a capital O, so I'll have to count oxygen. So 2 atoms to count, C and O. I do have a molecule here, so I'm going to want to use a square just to help me remember that this coefficient 3 has to be multiplied by everything in the square. So let's get started by counting carbon. I'm going to draw my arrows. I see the 3 must go to the carbon. That means 3 times 1. 3 must also go to the oxygen. And in that case, I'm going to have both a coefficient and a subscript. So right here, C equals 3, because I'm just doing 3 times 1, right? And none means 1 when we're thinking about subscripts. And for O, I'm going to have to multiply. And why am I doing that? Well, because I have both a coefficient and a subscript. And when I have both of those things, I have to multiply them. So O is going to be 3 times 2 equals 6. Oops. 3 times 2 equals 6. So there we go. I just counted both of those atoms. And now the last one, we've got 5CaCl2. So let's start by identifying which atoms I'm going to need to count. So I'm going to need Ca, because I'm seeing capital C, lowercase a, so that must be 1 atom for calcium. Then I see a new capital letter, C, and a lowercase l, so that's going to be Cl for chlorine. So let's start by putting a box around the molecule. So we remember to multiply our coefficient all the way through. And then we'll draw some arrows. So this 5 is going to have to go to CA, and it's going to have to go to CL. All right. So for CA, I see I have no subscript, and none means 1, so 5 times 1 is just 5. For CL, I have my coefficient of 5, I have a subscript of 2, and I know that 5 times 2 is equal to 10. So there we go. There's our 3 examples from the notes. I'd go ahead and get started on your practice problems now, and I will post more video walkthroughs of the practice problems as we move through this week.